panel now. You know, we're on your panel. You were doing all this cutting off and being
But
aggressive.
I don't
We're here
have to
now.
submit to you. You're not my man. But anyway,
I mean, you're real close to
it,
getting kicked off the panel.
you
You're
know
not gonna
what?
cut me. You're not gonna cut me off on my own shit.
All right. I'm not submitting. I'm just, this is.
I know you're not. You're not submitting. That's the point I'm trying to make. Where all women are submissive, but when it comes time for a discussion, cutting you off, being aggressive, they're in your face, not even letting you talk. And it's different if this was like your channel. This is my shit. Why do I have to be disrespected on my own shit? That's the thing. See, in the scenario, the guy says I'm an actor too. He didn't, there was no other context to that. I didn't say that he was looking a certain way or he was talking shit to her. It was immediately, he's a bitch, he's insecure. And I was like, well, why would you stay with him? And you're like, well, no one can tell me why they would stay in a relationship with him if you think he's insecure and a bitch.
But I did say that she would leave. Once a woman loses respect for you, she's definitely going to leave unless she's there just for the money.
So will that cause her to not be a submissive woman to other men? Because to me, if a woman is submissive, it's a mindset, and she's going to be submissive no matter where she goes. I got it. The angry black woman can come up anytime she gets ready, but submission is a state of mind. Kind of like if someone has a wealth mindset, they're going to have a wealth mindset no matter what kind of money they have. If a man is a leader, he's going to have a leader mindset. That's why I say about the whole mentality, because we're not talking about someone's actions. We're talking about the mind. So you, Faith, you Mahogany Roots, I hear what you're saying about I'm going to pick and choose when I'm submissive depending on the guy. No, a submissive woman has the submissive mindset no matter who she's with, and if she doesn't like where she's at, she's leaving. Welcome, Mr. Research. Welcome to the panel. How are you?
Doing well. I think that sometimes, okay, so there's three different type of dudes. So we're talking about the higher level of dudes. I'm a high career dude. What we do, we want specificity. We don't want in general answers. We don't want vague answers. We like detail. And sometimes it's hard to have these conversations because sometimes the answers that are given are vague, or they're from a, well, maybe, could be, possibly, depending on the situation. It's hard to measure those type of things when you're a person who looks at things from a detailed point of view.
Anyone have a response to Mr. Research or anything I've said? This is the free for all, by the way. I'm not going to say, hey, you talk or this person talk. This is a free for all.
Well, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to seem like I'm not being submissive.
Well, cutting someone off mid-sentence, yeah, that would come across as aggressive. But right now, the floor is open to anyone who wants. It's kind of like panel etiquette. If someone's in the middle of a sentence, you might say something to respond to what they're saying, but you at least want to you at least want to hear someone's entire point before responding, so you're not responding to half a point.
I think Faith, he was saying let him finish his sentence and then respond to that rather than a couple of nouns.
So okay, so just going back, the thing is okay, in the scenario with the actor, and it was laid out that he's acting like a bitch, he's acting insecure just because he said I'm an actor too. He could have been sarcastic, he could have been joking. We just automatically jump to the fact that he's acting like a bitch, and you don't respect him. So now you're not submissive. That's where we're currently at. And the point I'm trying to make is that when it comes to something that I call the hoe mentality, I'm not saying that anyone on the panel is a hoe or has the hoe mentality, but just in general, to not be disrespectful. The hoe mentality is no allegiance. That's the key thing is if a woman is submissive to her man, that's where her allegiance is. She's a part of his program. She's encouraging him. If he has a problem, she's helping him solve it. Not if he has a problem, gaslight him and try to justify things the way they are.
if nobody's going to speak, let me say this. I love our ladies, but I think what's happening is there's so much exposure to the boy mentality guys. The boy mentality guys, they look better than us boring lame dudes. The boy mentality guys, they got more time and availability than us dudes that have to get projects done and what have you. And I think decades of dealing with the boy mentality guy, no matter his age, uh, when it comes to a man of some class or some uh, I'd like to deem high value as far as your connections to your industry, not so much of a dollar sign. But when it comes to that, it's a different type of mentality. You got to deal with managing people and managing staff. That lady who's been dealing with that boy mentality, where she's getting what she want, when she want, how she want, it's different to go to a team concept at that point. And I think that's really what the issue is. Our ladies are not at fault for it, but I think that they've been enjoying these boys pretending to be men for so long that when they finally find a guy that's defeating the world or mentally challenging Asian and white men on a weekly basis in the office, that's harder for her to deal with.
I'd just like to say something. It's so funny to me, and this is no shot to nobody here, but I just see this and I hear this everywhere, and it's weird to me because I really do feel like I know plenty of men that are of a higher stature, and they don't go around even talking about submission, but somehow the women around them submit. They don't have to mention it. They don't have to beat their chest. They don't have to, well, why aren't you supporting me? They don't have to do it. It's just automatically given. But why is, like, one of the fellas tell me why that is. Why is it that these men in these YouTube spaces are constantly talking about submission? They seem to have issue getting submission, but the men that I know that actually are doing big things, like my uncle who was in the service, retired over 30 years, pastors, churches all over the country, but his wife is extremely happy. His family is extremely happy. No problems with submission. I don't understand why all these men on YouTube are having such an issue with submission.
Okay,
And the men I know they don't have to talk about it. They don't have to beat on their chest. It's like ridiculous. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question because you said it a couple of times. Can you give me a definition of what you mean by beat on their chest?
I've never seen this before in my life, but I've never heard men just constantly asking and talking about submission to the point of nauseam. Like, it's just weird to me. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Well, let me give you my version. Let me give you my version. So I work in medical finance. I'm from the hood, but I switched life around and I work in medical finance now. I want you to start asking some of these guys, what industry do you work in? You will get two reactions. Either a guy will just tell you, or he'll be reluctant to tell you because he knows that you can devalue what he's saying. And let me explain what I mean by that. There's a lot of low producing dudes online. And I'm not saying that to be facetious. It's a lot of low producing dudes who want submission, okay, but they're not leading well. I mean, they got issues leading. So you got these different people, and then you got the people who are doing stuff. This is your first time since 1999 where people are actually having conversations. So you may have never heard this, and your uncles and your granddads, because they didn't have access to this great invention in 1995 called the internet. These conversations were being had at the barbershop, and they were being had by your uncle and your granddad. You just never heard them. You know, they were being had in the steam room. They were being had at the cigar bar. You just never heard them. So this great invention called the internet allowed you to hear them. But don't be fooled. I will agree with you, Miss Mahogany. Half of the guys, they don't want to tell you that they're Uber drivers complaining. Half of the guys, or they don't want to tell you that they're janitors complaining, because then we got to agree with you as women. Why don't you step up your leadership game? Why don't you be supervisor of janitors? And you would have a better outcome with women, so on and so forth. Guys like myself only speak because I can articulate things in a way that people can absorb. So I feel like it's my duty to share that knowledge. I'm not hurting for women. I'm not hurting for women who follow my lead. What I'm hurting for is an actual wife. It's not a lot of wife material out here. It's a lot of combativeness. And, you know, to each their own. I just walk past it. I don't complain about it. Go ahead, Mahogany.
No, that's all I was. Yeah, I was done. Go ahead.
Well, I just going to piggyback on what Mr. Research was saying, because that actually is what we're here for. And, you know, all the different things I listed out, one of them was people who are not wife material. And it's no shout out to anybody on the panel or anyone in the chat. However, there really is a problem with people being wife material. No one wants to marry anyone for them to become wife material. You want to marry someone who already displays those qualities. And a lot of times it could be, a lot of things can be changed as far as what we call submissiveness by a woman asking questions as opposed to making statements. Because when she keeps making statements, sooner or later it becomes justifying, gaslighting, and it's not really an open communication. So back to the scenario, I know I said no more scenarios, right? The man just said, I'm an actor too. And immediately it's, he's a bitch, he's insecure, I'm going to be disrespectful to him. Those are statements. One response a lot of men would like, and I'm just speaking for myself at this point, but maybe someone else may agree with me, is that we would like to solve problems as opposed to making them. And a lot of times, like I was mentioning about a man wants his woman to be his cheerleader, that goes into just asking questions, asking what he wants. Because if he's the breadwinner and paying all the bills, he's the provider, the protector, he needs her to be his cheerleader so he can do what he needs to do to continue to provide and protect. Even if he and you are in two separate households and he's helping you out financially here and there, taking you out, courting you, he still would want you to cheerlead because you're not focused on working to get the job that you have. You want, you're basically dressing for the job you want, not the job you have. And that's what a lot of people have as far as a problem. And I do agree with you, Mahogany Roots. A lot of guys go on and on and on about submission. But from our perspective as men, you know, I guess you could say collectively, there does need to be discussion had, because Black men still want to be with Black women. When you stop hearing men of all different social classes stop having conversations, now there's a problem.
I mean, because respectfully, ladies, and you guys are intelligent. Faith, I've spoken with you before. You know, it's like just like the argument for you guys. I can use the argument for you guys as far as leadership. Okay, there's a lot of people who Mr. K and I would not even pick for the basketball team. I mean, even though they got a killer crossover and killer shot, we know they're not a team player for the team that we got captain. We picking. We wouldn't pick that particular dude. So a lot of times leadership on y'all side, you know, when y'all have that conversation, sometimes you guys pick people who they got that killer crossover and you like it. They got that one shot and you like it, but they got just a terrible teammate. And I think that when you guys have the leadership conversation, you know, which is perpendicular to this submission conversation, sometimes I guess, you know, majority of our ladies don't look at it from the standpoint of he's shorter than me, but boy, his leadership is great. He's lighter than me, darker than me, but boy, his leadership is great. See, men are looking at the submission piece more so. And this is why a lot of guys get fooled by non-Black women. Notice I said fooled, because those women pretend very well. They play that pretend submission very well. They're actually worse if you let them down and don't lead them correctly as a Black man. But they pretend very well. So I just think that what's being said here, ladies, is the perpendicular of what you guys are talking about on the leadership side. It has to have more validity, which is what Mr. K is saying, than I can do it. It has to be some examples. I mean, if I give you a flower, you of faith and mahogany, and you can't keep that flower alive, I'm looking at your nurturing skills. Well, the same thing, I'm sure, ladies, if you give me a puppy and I can't keep that puppy trained, where's my leadership skills? Am I making sense, or am I losing people?
You are. I'm going to pull Faith in. She's been quiet for a while. And also while Faith is talking, so Mr. Research, Mahogany Roots, if y'all could put y'all's Cash Apps in the chat or the private chat, I'd appreciate it. Faith, you got anything?
Well, as I was saying earlier, I don't believe in faking for anybody. If I'm not feeling it, I'm going to tell you. I think that a good partner is not going to gaslight her partner or lie to him or be fake. I think that that's not good for the relationship. So, as Mr. Research stated, he's absolutely right. I live out here in Phoenix. A lot of my friends are white out here. And yeah, these white women, they do have the game locked down on the fake submissiveness. And their men are sick of them too. Because after a while, people know you're being fake. But the thing about it is, with a sister, you're going to get that authenticity. If you fucked up, we're going to let you know that you fucked up. Excuse my language, but it just is what it is. Now, in the scenario with the actor, okay, all of you are friends, all of you are actors. In that scenario, her friend was just on the stage performing. He just got through performing. Not her man. Her man is out there in the audience with her watching the performance. What is wrong with after the show, she goes to her friend and said, great performance? What is wrong with this dude that he has to have his ego stroked 24/7, even when he's not on stage?
Yeah, if I could put y'all's Cash Apps in the private chat. I'm not taking any Cash Apps tonight, even though my thing is pinned to the top. Let me unpin this. I'm not taking any Cash Apps. I'm good. I want to show y'all some love. So if I could put y'all's Cash Apps in the, I already got face, but if I could put y'all's private.
Oh, that's too kind, but I swear to you, you don't have to do it. I'm just here enjoying the conversation, but I appreciate it.
That's just it. Okay. You all are not you all, but Mahogany Roots, you're insulting me because this is almost like you come into my house, I'm offering you food, and you all are like, no, I don't want to eat. You all are guests in my house, and I want to do this for you. I want you, Mahogany Roots, and even Mr. Research, I want you all to be submissive to my requests. And please don't insult me because you're making me look bad out here. I'd like to bless you all for coming to support me. Outstanding. Mahogany Roots, waiting on you. And so to answer Faith's question, the issue with the scenario wasn't her complimenting him. We don't even know what the answer is because she didn't ask. He just simply said in the scenario, I'm an actor too. Now, I didn't say how he was looking. I didn't say how he was sounding. It's just a simple statement. And see, we get farther by asking questions as opposed to making statements. Now, you did ask what's wrong with giving the compliment, which is good because the answer is nothing wrong with the complimenting the guy on the performance. But see, you have to ask questions, and that's really what is really good with communication, is asking the questions, just seeing what is the problem and symptom of the problem, as opposed to attacking. See, a lot of times when it comes to relationships, instead of it being us against the world, we turn on each other or justify. And if your partner is hurting or upset about something and you care about them and want to be with him or her, why not ask questions to see what's wrong, as opposed to telling them that they're quote unquote being a little bitch, being insecure, yada yada yada. But go ahead. I'm gonna do some cash apping.
Yeah, I think that's the major thing, especially for those of us who mentally fight white people. Like my girl now, I try to say to her, hey, look, there are times like I'm up right now. I'm up at 8, and I have my handyman is coming at 8. I mean, I'm up at 1. My handyman is coming at 8 in the morning. Got to be at work at 9. But I'm up talking to you guys and simultaneously paying my online employees because I forgot to. That's, you got to have a woman who understands that type of stuff. That is bigger than just giving somebody a BJ. It's a mental stimulation, a mental nurturing. But I understand that for some ladies, it's harder to understand dudes who got to do this type of stuff, because the hustle guy probably makes more money than me. The hustle guy probably is taller or darker or whatever the case may be. And that's cool. But I think her dealing with those type of mentalities is different than the guys who got to do this type of stuff. Am I wrong, ladies?
I want to say, and I'll let Faith talk. I think that for me, the assumption is that a lot of women don't have good. Well, for me, I know I got a good man, and my thing is he don't ever complain about me submitting. I just don't see how it helps anything. I just can't. I just don't see how that helps anything. There's ways to get what you want out of a woman, and I hate to keep on saying the word complaining, because I know you guys don't think it sounds like that, but to some women, that's kind of like what it sounds like. It's kind of like to us, if like, think about it in the reverse situation. Like if we were saying to you, why can't you guys do more of this? Why can't you guys do more of that? You're going to say we're nagging. So it's just, I guess it's just the way that it sounds to us.
Well, that happens all the time in man world, and it's we just normalize it. We don't even call it nagging no more. We just normalize it. It happens all the time. It shoot. Wait. Let me just finish real quick. I try to help my mother. My mother even does that. It's such a normalized thing. My sisters said something out of pocket, and I had to weather the storm. And 3 days later, they realized they was out of pocket. I even had to say nothing. I'm like, what does that have to do with me? How did I get involved in that? And it's her third time chewing me out about something that I have nothing to do with it, and her third time realizing. So we don't even call it nagging no more. It's just what happens all the time. The other thing I'll say about submission, because you keep referencing it, in your circle, that may be true. But sometimes when we talk about these topics, we're just talking about a nationwide thing. We're not necessarily talking about the specific things that happen in our world. In my world, I don't even mention submission. But when it comes to the topic, I try to, pontificate about what's happening nationwide, because I go from state to state, especially, whether it be for enjoyment or whether it be for going to some conference or something. So it's something that guys are talking about in the cigar room, in the steam room. So that's what I think we're trying to talk as a topic, not as a individual anecdotal type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very good to discuss stuff because we increase our intelligence by having intelligent conversations. And sometimes we even increase our intelligence and gather intel on others by hearing the stupid conversations. And then we have some in between. the
And,
main.
and,
Go ahead.
and we're also on a panel where nobody's calling each other's names. We're just using to Kay's point, we're using our brains to articulate a point. And so that should be a great thing. Nobody's cutting each other off, nobody's insulting each other. The ladies are being allowed to get their full expression in, and this is a comfortable space. Thank you, Kay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm going to do more discussions like this, talking about, instead of just high value men and women and high quality men and women, but just the high payout, because no one talks about someone actually, making six figures, whatever the figures are, 6-7 figures, actually being a benefit, which is high payout. And also, what exactly, I guess, myself, anyone else who comes along, Mr. Research, thank you, or even, Faith Mahogany Roots, what does submission look like from an intelligent point of view? And we all have different points of view. I've heard it could be turned on and off. I disagree. I think a submissive woman is submissive all the time, and she'll just leave a relationship if she doesn't like it. However, I'm finding out that it's, I guess, possible to turn it off and on. To me, that just sounds kind of like fake it till you make it, or the representative, or wearing a mask. But I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong and understanding. I guess if anyone were to listen to this live stream or replay, that they would understand that if you're in something and you're not happy, and you feel like, I want to be disrespectful, I lose respect for this person, that they just leave. Because one of the most harmful things that happens is someone stays and they're not happy, and now someone's pregnant, or people are doxing and roasting each other, or just doing a whole bunch of horrible things, when the best thing, the most adult thing, besides asking questions to find out if your partner, who you care about, why they're hurting and why they're upset, but just understanding that maybe it's not in the cards and you should just walk away.
I don't know if this will be helpful, but I'm going to share how I co-submit to my woman. Okay. And this is a co-submit thing. You get the best out of women when you submit in this fashion as a guy. Don't always try to be right. Don't always try to give her advice. There are times when your woman is seeing things better than you can see it. So I submit in ways where, oh, God, she's doing it again. But I keep that to myself. Let me see where this goes. And I might get a nugget or a pearl of her wisdom. Oh, okay. Okay. I understand, wife. You're right, but you didn't consider this. So for the past 45 minutes, where you're seeing it, it don't really work that way. See, a guy has to submit to not trying to be right all the time. You got to hear women out, but sometimes you have to have that leadership potential where you're patient enough to listen and then re-advise, because maybe she's seeing something differently and it don't really work that way. Or she has a superior knowledge on something and you have to submit your ways in order to hear her counterpart, because she's part of the team. She's part of the team. So it does go both ways, but it's more of my responsibility if it don't go right, because I want to put the woman in the best situation possible. You know what I'm saying? For example, let's say, just using you as an example. Well, no, just using anybody as an example. Let's say my woman chops wood for a living. Okay, she did that before I met her. Okay, it's my job to come in to try to get her in a situation where she's the manager of the wood choppers. That's my role. Even though she likes to chop wood, sweetheart, I want to put you in the best feminine situation possible by still doing what you love to do. Well, you need to accept me how I am. Okay, I do, sweetheart, but over time, that's going to wear down on you body wise. It's going to affect your emotions. You may not realize that right now, but let's try it this way. Now, if she doesn't agree, I have to do one or two things: deal with that in a submission type of way, or like Kay said earlier, shake her hand. Sweetheart, it's not going to work out. I think you're great, but my future legacy has a different path. Much love to you. You know, we could still be friends from email or what have you. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't have to be a combative argument. We just we got to either conform, is what my college friend used to say, or not. And conforming for a man is a form of submission. It's not outright submission. I will be clear to the people in the chat room, but it is a form of submission when you're conforming because she is part of the team. Did I get something wrong, ladies?
No, you didn't. I actually agree with
You guys,
that.
I'm sorry, I gotta get ready to go to work, but I just wanted to let you know that I do appreciate you letting me up here. It's always a pleasure, and I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, thanks for coming. You come back anytime.
Of course.
All right.
Yeah. Yes, I am. CK, I be in on you. I listened to you the other night, so I'm
You know
here.
what? No. Call in sick to your job. Forget your job. No, I'm just joking. I'm serious, but I'm joking.
I be in the clouds a lot. So, all right, Faith. I'll see you later.
All right, Mahogany.
All right. Bye bye.
Mr. Research left. All right, one-on-one again. This has been great. And I really appreciate you coming up and giving your insight, Faith. I really appreciate it. Even though we had a back and forth, which I thought was fun. I really enjoyed it. And I'm sorry if I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't know if you were mid-sentence about anything.
No, you were perfectly fine. I do apologize though for cutting you off.
This is going to be a dark side of dating, right? No, I'm just joking. But I think it's I agree with your points as far as if he is being, because I mean, to be honest with you, if he's being insecure and he's being a little bitch, of course, like you said, you're not gonna just come out and just beat him up and be like, oh, you're a little bitch, this and that. And I based off seeing you on panels and us kind of talking behind the scenes, I know you're not, what I'm saying, even though sometimes you kind of behind the scenes, to a certain extent, you kind of may be a character that I used to know called Wrath. All in all, I think you're like, a teddy bear. And I honestly believe that you probably would ask the questions like, hey, what's going on? What's wrong? What did I do wrong? And this and that. And with asking those questions, I know, probably get to the bottom of it. Because, maybe depending on, I guess, like how someone may have went to thank the friend who's the actor who just got through performing, if she comes out and she's hugging on him and the breasts are on his chest and she's kissing on the guy and looking all googly eyed, the person might be like, well, I'm an actor too, can I get that same treatment? And then it's like, oh, you're being a bitch. So I do think that asking questions would be really good for relationships and stuff. And if it's okay, I'd like to maybe have you come on to help me with the show finishing first, to kind of talk about different things, such as how do us as Black men collectively get Black women to come back to the table? Because there's a lot of hate within the race. And it just seems that maybe us as men being more understanding to what women are going through and what they believe and what submission looks like to them and what relationship goals look like to them, it could help us with being prosperous together, as opposed to, well, level up, get you an old white man and you'll be happy. So it's hard to put you on the spot like that, but if you're available